What's up, guys? Jeremy here, YouTube's very own financialpreneur and the most trustworthy, most authentic financial advisor in sports. I'm glad you're here. I want to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, and I think it's going to be helpful. But before I get into it, I just want to say thank you so much to anyone that is getting value from this, anyone that likes or comments on a video, anyone that has hired me as a coach or a money manager, anyone that is just rooting for Team Jeremy over here. I just want to say thank you so much because it really means a lot. And I am trying my best to move away from, or what, how should I say this? To be a little bit less self-promotional and a little bit more just genuinely informational, instructional, educational, a little bit inspirational. Like I'm trying to up my game in terms of delivering real value and not just talking about um, vlog style, whatever it is that I might be thinking about. And so today, what we're talking about is what do you do when someone asks you for money? How do you process that? What are some top considerations that you might want to make? And if you are, only managing $1 to your name, right, the weight of this is pretty small. Or if you're just, you have very little that you are stewarding, the weight is smaller. But the more that you are managing, or the more income you're making, or the greater your net worth is, the more valuable the businesses that you own, it increases the responsibility associated with your generosity. Because in a sense, every dollar has a purpose, every dollar has an impact. Every dollar, therefore, has a return, a net return on that dollar. If it's a dollar that you are spending for your consumption, you are measuring the return. The ROI is not how many dollars did that dollar make, but it's how much pleasure did it generate? How much, quality shelter or food or whatever it is you're spending on, transportation, experiences. What was the quality of what you received as it relates to how it impacts your joy? When you're investing, a lot of times you are looking at ROI. How did this money grow, or what was the impact of this business or this investment in the world, in people's lives, etc. With giving, it's no different. Giving is it's what's the return altruistically, right? What's the outcome, the greater good that I'm funding. I'm sowing into this. I'm investing into this. It's not something I'm going to get money back for. It is given without strings attached, but it's given. That's a real dollar that's really going to something. And so what is it going to? Now, again, if you're a 5-year-old and you want to give your penny to the wishing well at the mall courtyard, well, great. It's probably not a big deal. Although when I was 5, my parents would not let me do that. Just saying. I've got some accountants for parents, and they said there's some better purposes for those pennies, okay? But as you scale up, again, to give some money to someone, I'm not trying to really dissuade you from giving however you might want to give. The main encouragement is think about how you would like to give proactively, and then give in that way as best as you can, rather than just shutting yourself off to generosity, focusing on spending and investing your own financial world, and then only considering, oh, someone's asked me for money, so now do I like feel morally obligated to just give them some money because they asked me for some money? The more that you create your own vision for generosity, the less that you are thrown off or confused or internally conflicted related to external requests for money, right? Just like if you know what kind of car you like to drive or what grocery store you like to shop at, you're not thrown for a loop if you see a commercial for a competitor, right? You might appreciate the information, or hey, maybe Jake from State Farm really is pretty great, but by and large, when you're already on a track, you already have a solution. Um, that vision helps propel you and helps you navigate these requests. So, I want to walk you through a resource I made for me. It's not necessarily instructional for you, but you can use it if you like. It is available for free at jeremybiard.com, aka school.com/financial coaching, and I'll show you where you can find it after I go through it. But this is what it looks like. It's just a simple Google Doc, okay? Factors to weigh when someone asks for donations. So for me, this is aside from your personal vision, right? Your own constructed game plan for generosity. You move outside of that scope, and now we're just talking about anyone and everyone that asks you for money. What do you do? And again, this is how I like to process it. If you want to do something different in your life, that is great. And again, the less money you have, the less you probably need to think about something like this. But if you're in that rainmaker stage of financial freedom, then you really probably need to think more intentionally about how you want to process this because you will never make enough money to solve all of the world's problems. You can't buy the whole world, right? You're not going to be able to. You can't feed every person. And if you did, they're going to eat it all and then they're still going to be hungry next week, right? So having some clarity is helpful, particularly the more that you scale. For me, number one consideration, a life that already embodies and advances the cause. So again, you might have some causes you're already particularly passionate about, but being agnostic to that, just neutrally considering the requests that come your way, how much does this person live and breathe whatever it is that they are requesting money for? Specifically, I'm talking about nonprofit donations. If you want to talk about, well, someone's in need and they're asking me for, food or shelter, right? The main questions really go down to what is available to them as far as resources. Are you their mom or their dad? Are you their brother or their sister? Are you one of their best friends? If not, can you help identify who those people are? Because again, you can't just house every single person in the world in your garage, right? You people need relationships. They need relationships. They need relationships. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't just give a random handout, but should you feel morally obligated to just give someone humanitarian aid? I'd say the closer you are to the cause, the problem, the person, the more that you probably should feel inclined to do that. And regardless, your heart should, of course, have compassion for anyone who's suffering. But when it's talking about donations, right, to a nonprofit, that's more the scope I'm looking for. And there's three bullet points to this top consideration of mine. So the consistency of their life. So basically, what have you done so far with the time that you've had? Can you show me or explain to me in some ways through your volunteerism or through your choices in your life for months or for years leading up to this moment, how you have done as much as you could or how you have embraced this cause or this organization? If someone's can't, right? If they're only taking a job and the job requires them to raise funds for a nonprofit, that is less compelling to me than someone who is genuinely pursuing their life passion, their calling, and it's evident that this is what they care about. And this is just the next step along a multitude of steps that they've already taken as it relates to the cause that they're discussing. Part two, the fruitfulness of their life to date. So what I mean by this is, okay, so of all the things you've done with your time or money you've given yourself or whatever it is, how has it gone? The more effective that you are related to the cause you're trying to address or the mission you're trying to advance, the vision that's compelling you, if you can show some effectiveness that's going to make me more excited to give a more more amount of dollars towards the thing that you're raising funds for when I know that, hey, not only do you care about this, but you're good at it. You are the right person for the job. And I can see that based on the success of your efforts. And success can mean different things in different contexts. I don't just mean how much money or surface level dimensions of success, but I want to see some return for what have you contributed? What is there to show for that, right? And then finally, their experience of their life to date. So, how long have those things been true, right? You live and you breathe this, and you've seen results from your efforts, but over how long of a period of time are we talking about? And the longest tenure that you have, the greater the body of evidence supporting that first and second bullet point there, the more secure I feel in saying, yeah, I really do want to invest in this thing that you are raising funds for. Number two consideration, a long-term clarity and commitment to the cause. So the top consideration, right, is their own personal embodiment of the cause. So it's almost kind of backwards, past and present looking. Number two is really more future looking. So okay, that's what you've done so far, but what is the vision long term? What's the end goal? What's your strategy to get there? If someone just wants to have a cool job that makes them feel good in their heart and they want to get paid to do it, that is not super compelling, right? It doesn't mean I wouldn't give to them, right? But you're weighing things because, again, you can't give every dollar to every cause sustainably, right? So you have to make choices. You can't eat every food for lunch today, right? You have to pick something. And so, of course, the more dollars you have, the more buckets you could have, the more eggs and more baskets you could have. Or you could have a more targeted approach where you want to give greater sums to fewer causes, whatever it may be. But ultimately, hey, who has the clearest purpose? Whose intentions are very straightforward, very realistic? Whose strategy is really evident as it relates to what they're trying to do, not just how much money are they trying to get, right? And the second point here is the expected duration of their efforts. So, how long are they planning on doing this? If they're raising funds for a 1 week thing, if they're raising funds for a 1 year thing, a 3 year thing, or if this is a 30-year thing, right? What is their commitment level to whatever it is that they are raising money for? In the longer term, their commitment, again, the more inclined I would be to give a greater amount of money towards it because I want to see that ROI. I want to see I really care about the cause, right? Of course, I care about the person, but there's lots of ways to make money. And if all you need is some money, then maybe let's talk about some social aid. Let's talk about are there family members that can help, right? But if we're talking about a cause, I want to know how am I going to help this cause? If I'm just going to help you get to experience the cause for a short amount of time for your personal fulfillment, again, I might still want to give to that, but it's not as compelling as, oh, I'm really sending a worker, right? I am helping hire a team that's dedicated to solving a problem that we can't find a way necessarily to economically solve, right? For profit might not be the right model. Maybe nonprofit really is the right model, but we have a team assembled that's ready to really tackle this, right? So the longer tenure, forward looking, right? The longer the commitment, the more enticing to me. And the number three, the final consideration when someone asks you for a donation is an evident value for financial responsibility. Again, for me, these are my three considerations that I feel are helpful. I don't want you to feel like these need to be your considerations. Another implicit consideration is how close am I to you? Do I like you? Do I know you personally? Right? There's some level of, well, hey, sure. right? But when it comes to what are you most compelled by, these are my three considerations. And here's how I would break down the finances one. So firstly, like, is there any um, greater financial vision beyond asking for donations? Or is the strategy, is the vision just indefinitely ask for donations to cover 100% of the organization's needs or 100% of their salary or whatever it may be? And I'd say the people that are creating the most long-term value, I'm going to be most excited to give towards. Not because I don't want to keep giving, but because I want to keep giving, right? And ultimately, however many nonprofits there are that have no other way of generating revenue outside of donations, the less impactful the nonprofit sector is going to be. But the more that nonprofit, which nonprofits, they can generate revenue, guys. That's not like illegal. They just can't have shareholders, okay? So if you're a nonprofit, right? That like a church could make music, right? They make albums or they sell their conferences or whatever it may be, right? Any nonprofit, they can make some money. So again, if someone's asking me for donations, do they have a vision to long term maybe have this nonprofit be self-sustainable? Or is that way like out of the cards? That's not their MO and they're not even interested, right, in creating a self-sustaining entity. If they're not interested in self-sustaining, then I know the longest term possible we're talking about is this person's life, right? But at some point, the donors are going to run out and there will be nothing to show for it that's organically producing, right? And so I would rather help build something that will organically produce. Maybe like a school, right? Like there's a tuition, even if it's a nonprofit, even if it's a private school, there's a lot of nonprofits that would require money to get going, but it doesn't mean the only way they can continue to exist is through more and more donations. Okay, part two, their financial habits. So first their financial vision and then their habits. So like this is kind of like earlier, I was asking about their time. What have you done with the time you've had so far related to this cause that you're potentially passionate about? This one's what have you done with the money you've had so far? Have you given towards this cause yourself? And then are you budgeting? Are you living below your means? Like, and just how open are you willing to be with how much you're being compensated by this nonprofit and how you came to justifying that compensation, right? Is this pay um, appropriate, right? Like if you're raising money on behalf of a different organization, what percentage of that money is really going to the cause versus going to pay like the executives of that nonprofit, right? So like how are you with your personal finances? Obviously, this matters a lot to me. I'm a financial advisor. I created Budget for Life. I'm a financialpreneur through and through. I really care about um, managing money in a way that is honorable and pure, especially if we are asking people to give us money. What's the machine that you've built, right? What that this money is about to get churned through, and do I like the way that machine's looking? And then finally, their financial capacity. Basically, what's your income? What's your net worth? And this one is a little tricky as far as where does the priority go? Because, like, at the surface level, the greater your financial need and the lower your ability to meet it yourself, the more inclined I would be to give to you. If someone independently of their nonprofit is a millionaire and they're giving no amount of their own money to this nonprofit, to me, I'm like, hey, if you don't want to give to it, why would I want to give to it? Like, you have a good ability to give to it. And I understand that, anyways, I understand why they might wouldn't want to do that, but I would rather give towards people that, hey, if I don't give, this might not happen. And if I do, then it really might. Or this is this gift will mean something more potentially to the person that I'm giving to or to the organization that I'm giving to, even at an organizational level. Like, okay, do you have an endowment for $5 billion? It's like, well, yeah, the more money in that pot, the more interest you can generate, the more you can do. I get it, but you don't like need money. You just would like some money, right? So generally, the greater the need, that would be where I would lean. But it's important that this financial capacity it's intentionally last in this list. Even within the financial category, like first, it's what's your vision, and then what are your habits? And if you have a low capacity because you have low vision and low habits, well, that's going to be a red flag. Like I would rather give to someone with a high financial capacity who also does have a high financial vision and great financial habits, right? It's in order of importance for me, this list. And so sometimes the need could be a red flag, right? Like, why are you in that much need at this point? You know, how did we get here? And not that I shouldn't give or wouldn't give, but again, we're just talking about factors to consider. So putting it all together, this is a simple reply that you could give or I could give if someone sent you an email or a text saying, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to give me some money?" Very simple. You could change the language yourself. I'd say, "Hey, so and so, thanks so much for reaching out and including me with what's ahead for you. Sounds epic. Hey, as far as support is concerned, I have a couple follow-up questions I'd love to hear more about whenever you get the chance. No pressure, okay, if you don't feel comfortable sharing, but thanks in advance for any insight you can offer." I like to weigh these considerations for every donation opportunity, not just in this case for you. I'm not targeting you. And I try to distill this down, right? I don't want to send someone 9 bullet points with multiple sub bullet points, but basically catch me up on your background, your strategy, and your finances. So, what have you done so far? What's the end goal? What do you have in mind? And then what's your financial position like? Hey, thanks so much. So proud of you and for what you're doing. And that's that, right? And if they don't respond, right, then that's totally up to them. And it doesn't mean I wouldn't give, right? It just means I don't get to consider these factors that I love to consider, which might make me less likely to feel confident to give a larger amount of money, right? So again, it's kind of like you could say first world problems, but everyone, I think, would benefit from having some internal clarity on how they like to go about giving, what they like to give towards, and then also clarity on a process for when things come from outside of your vision. How do you go about doing that? I think just giving a blanket no is a little bit um, short-sighted. And I think just giving a blanket yes is a little short-sighted. I think the more that we lean into with intentionality, every choice that we make with our time, with our relationships, with our money, the better off that we will be, the better off that others will be, the better off the world will be. And so this is just one little piece of that. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick one more time. I can show you where you would find this. So this is the jeremybr.com of the future. We've moved it onto school. And so I'm in a process of really encapsulate, like basically I'm moving my Google Drive to jeremybr.com right here. This is my newsletter, my blog, my coaching, budget for life support. It's all kind of merging into one seamless platform. Right here in the Rainmaker course, which is a free course, is where you're going to find this resource PDF download if you want it for yourself. So feel free to jump in. We'd love to see you here. I just made a new post this past week titled, "What's a Financialpreneur?" So if you're wondering what it is, come check it out. All right, that's all I got for y'all in this video. I will talk to y'all soon, and thank you again so much.